Chairman, let me thank the witnesses for your valuable testimony here today and for this conversation. And I'm pleased that the committee is discussing the potential impact of the PRC's strategy to dominate three particular important industries: semiconductors, shipbuilding, and drones. Mr. Newhouse touched on this in his comments, but if you look at China's Made in China 2025 and the 14th five-year plan, the Chinese Communist Party has made it clear that they intend to challenge the United States' global economic leadership, and they are actively advancing their goals as we speak. President Xi has stated that he aims to achieve 70% self-sufficiency in high-tech industries by 2025 and market dominance by the 100th anniversary of the PRC's PRC in the year 2049. We know that the CCP is investing billions across strategic industrial sectors such as semiconductors, new and emerging technologies, and energy such as solar and EV batteries, all in an effort to gain dominant control over the global market. In fact, the Wall Street Journal recently reported that the PRC-based Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corporation is aggressively adopting homegrown semiconductor production equipment into its product line, part of a broader campaign to eradicate American technology in the PRC. They dub this, quote, delete A, unquote. That article that I'm referencing was dated June 3rd, 2024 in the Wall Street Journal, titled, "The Goal of China's Chip Giant, semicolon, cut out the U.S. China's domestic chip industry strives for self-sufficiency." Mr. Chairman, I would ask to submit for the record this article from the Wall Street Journal. Thank you. Whether it be through subsidized state-owned enterprises that do not play by the same rules as their competitors, the use of coercive tactics to manipulate the global market, or forcible transfers of technology and intellectual property, the CCP clearly is willing to do whatever it takes to achieve this goal. Dr. Miller, in your written testimony, you draw a comparison between China's increased subsidy campaign for semiconductors and their efforts to dominate the solar panel and EV battery markets. You note that such control over a given market can create a strategic advantage that may be exploited by the PRC down the line. Consequentially, this committee has heard from a number of companies that rely heavily on Chinese-manufactured EV batteries and solar panels, making it difficult to de-risk their supply chains out of China. Can you talk a little bit about what steps we need to be making to work with our allies and trading partners to prevent the over-reliance on Chinese legacy semiconductors and avoid similar flashpoints?
Representative, today, as I mentioned in my oral remarks, most foundational semiconductors are manufactured in the West, in the United States, in Japan, in Europe, or in Taiwan. But that's changing as China invests more right now. And so the key for policy measures is to stop the new investment that's being made in China from reaching Western markets in large quantities. I think there are several approaches you could take to address this problem. The first is trade measures. The second is restrictions on the use of Chinese components in critical systems. And the third is to restrict the access of individual Chinese firms that are particular challenges or security risks to sell into U.S. markets. I think some mix of these policies would be an effective response to the risk that we become more reliant, excessively reliant on chips produced in China.
And those three things you mentioned, how do you grade the current administration on the implementation of those three?
There have been steps taken on each of those fronts, but I think there is more work to be done.
And as a follow-up, you draw a distinction between legacy semiconductors and advanced small node semiconductors. When we in Congress talk about semiconductors, it's rare that the distinction is made. Should we be approaching policy solutions that would apply broadly to both advanced and legacy chips, or is it more effective to distinguish between those two types of technologies?
Representative, I think we need to distinguish between these two categories. In advanced chips, we and our allies have a major technological advantage over China. When it comes to foundational semiconductors, China in many cases is close to the cutting edge in foundational chips. And so our ability to restrict their access to technology is less significant in the sphere of foundational semiconductors. Moreover, the use of Chinese foundational semiconductors is already present in U.S. manufacturing supply chains. And so we need to be careful when we take restrictive measures not to do so too rapidly in a way that would enable or make it difficult for U.S. firms to continue their existing manufacturing operations. So that's why I think for any measure we take, we should phase it in over time to give U.S. manufacturers time to adjust to any potential supply chain issues.
Thank you. I yield back, Mr. Chair.
Representative Brown.